The quiet. That's what Sergeant Major Elias Vance was seeking. After 20 grueling years navigating the unrelenting noise of conflict in combat zones, Elias wanted silence. He found it in rural Montana, buried beneath a vast, uncaring sky. His companion in this desperate quest for peace was Apollo, a massive black Labrador, his retired service dog, his anchor to the sane world. Apollo was the only soul who truly understood the price of that noise. Elias wasn't looking for a bargain. He was looking for a corner of the map that chaos couldn't reach. Then, the county tax auction listed Parcel 42B, a desolate 160 acres of forgotten forest, site of the infamous Blackwood Cabin, a structure abandoned for nearly 2 decades. The bidding opened at 37 cents. A ridiculous, throwaway price. A bureaucratic joke. Elias raised his hand. He bought the crumbling ghost of a property for the price of pocket change. The locals whispered their warnings. The cabin was cursed, they said. The last owner, a quiet surveyor named Thomas Croft, simply walked into the woods and vanished in 2006. But Elias didn't believe in curses. He believed in solid ground beneath his feet and the unwavering loyalty of his dog. As Elias made his initial sweep, the interior of the cabin was a tomb, dust, cobwebs, and the pervasive scent of mold and neglect. Apollo was calm, sniffing the decay, assessing the stale atmosphere, until they reached the massive, black fieldstone fireplace. That's when the routine shattered. Apollo, usually placid, stiffened. Every muscle in his powerful body went taut. A low, deep growl erupted from his chest, not one of fear, but of primal, obsessive alarm, directed solely at the hearth. Elias recognized that chilling sound instantly. It was the signal Apollo gave when he detected an unexploded ordnance, a hidden threat that demanded immediate respect. The curse wasn't supernatural, it was physical, tangible, and deadly. Elias needed information. He drove his patched-up truck into the nearest town. Silas, the clerk at the general store, was immediately hostile when Elias mentioned buying Parcel 42B. Silas confirmed the rumor. Croft vanished, the tax accrued for 18 years. But then Silas dropped the first real clue, his voice a strained whisper. Nobody bid against you, Mr. Vance. They know what Croft was digging into. Big energy deals. Local politicians tied up in knots. Croft was trying to blow the whistle on something massive. The curse was a smokescreen. The 37 cents was a repellent. People knew Croft was erased for exposing Apex resources. Elias was warned, leave it alone. But for a man who faced true evil, a local cover-up was an invitation. The game had begun. The first real blizzard hit, trapping Elias. Apollo wouldn't stop, scraping frantically at the fireplace base. Elias grabbed a crowbar. After an agonizing struggle, a slate stone lifted, revealing a perfectly dry, stone-lined cavity. Inside, a military-grade ammunition box and thick, leather-bound journals. Elias opened the box. No gold. Instead, environmental tests from 2005 and vials of dark, oily liquid labeled with coordinates. Croft hadn't found a local dump. He charted a decades-long contamination of the region's primary water sources by Apex Resources. The surveyor was murdered for exposing a corporate crime that poisoned thousands. This was the secret that changed history. Elias knew he couldn't stay unprotected. He secured the proof, made copies, and called Sergeant Marcus Cole, his former commanding officer turned high-stakes lawyer in Denver. While Elias was coordinating, the first threat arrived. A sleek black SUV cut through the snow. Out stepped Mr. Sterling, the Apex Resources fixer. Sterling offered $100,000 cash for the evidence. Elias refused. Sterling's veneer cracked. That cabin was supposed to stay silent, Vance. Croft was messy. You're about to become messy too. Sterling left after delivering a silent message. Elias found his truck tire deliberately slashed. A slow leak, designed to strand him miles from help. The clock was ticking, and the blizzard was returning with vengeance. The second storm hit like a fist. Elias barricaded the cabin, knowing they wouldn't wait for rescue. Around 2 a.m. the attack came. They hammered the front door. Apollo exploded into action, using his training to disable the first attacker with a focused, disabling bite, the dog's precision saving Elias's life from a shotgun blast. Elias fired a warning shot, forcing the remaining thugs to retreat into the blinding woods. But they were smarter this time. While Elias guarded the entry, one man circled silently around the back, prying loose a window board. Apollo sensed the breach instantly. He lunged across the room, slamming into the intruder just as he entered, knocking the weapon aside. The dog's sheer mass saved Elias from a direct shot. But the remaining thugs, now desperate and enraged, launched their final, terrible move. They threw lantern oil through the broken window and tossed a lit torch. Intense pause here for visual/sound buildup. The cabin became an inferno in seconds. Elias had mere seconds to act. He couldn't run out the front door into the waiting line of fire. He had to secure the prize. He grabbed the only thing that mattered, the ammunition box, kicked the nearest injured attacker directly toward the rising flames as a final, visceral message of defiance, and with Apollo sprinting ahead, Elias took his only option. He plunged out the back and into the deep, blinding, freezing woods. They ran blind, guided only by Apollo's insistent, low tugs away from the mercenary search parties. Elias's lungs burned. Every shadow was a threat. He ran until he reached a narrow ridge line, the sound of pursuit fading, replaced by a new metallic sound, helicopters. Elias had sent his encrypted message to Sergeant Cole moments before the final attack. At precisely 6 a.m., the prearranged signal went off, alerting federal authorities. State police and FBI agents descended on the burning scene below. Sterling and the surviving mercenaries were apprehended, their conspiracy collapsing under the weight of Croft's original data, now secured by the veteran and his dog. Thomas Croft's truth, the corporate poisoning of a region, was finally exposed to the world. The complicit local officials were arrested, the Apex resources stock plummeted, and the cleanup began. Elias Vance, the man who sought only silence, found himself an unwilling, reluctant hero. In the months that followed, Elias could have sold the contaminated land for a hidden fortune, or simply walked away from Montana forever. But as he surveyed the area, now quiet for the right reasons, he looked at the resilient stone chimney he managed to salvage from the ashes, and then at Apollo, resting beside him, nudging his hand with quiet devotion. Elias knew where he belonged. He wasn't running from the noise anymore. He was defending the peace he had earned. He came for silence and found a purpose that mattered more than any award. He proved that sometimes the greatest secrets aren't kept by ghosts, but by powerful, ruthless men, and the greatest truth is found only when you trust your most loyal partner until the end. The story of Elias Vance and his Labrador, Apollo, reminds us that loyalty runs deeper than gold, and sometimes the truth costs less than you can imagine. If you believe that courage, honor, and the fight for justice come in all shapes and sizes, especially those covered in fur, please take a moment to like this video. More importantly, subscribe to channel Paws of History. Help us share these cinematic, true-to-life stories of animal heroism and human integrity. Your subscription directly fuels the next great discovery. Thank you for watching. Your next adventure is already waiting for you.